What's up with this squad? Back with another video. I seen the title was going out. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, please. Y'all see it right here. Says right here, Gavin Newsom, California is running a $30 billion fraud program meant for home care. Up to 40% of it is fraudulent. This isn't the only thing that has been going on in California, as y'all know. Said it operates entirely on the honor system and loses $6 to $12 billion per year. Gavin's total fraud loss is $180 billion. Check it out right here.
Find out about this, and what was the scam?
So the scam is California's in-home supported services or in-home care program. It spends about $30 billion a year. It's one of the state's largest programs. And it pays 800,000 Californians to stay home, mostly with relatives, to take care of them, to cook, clean, watch television. On the surface, it's compassionate. You're taking care of your grandfather or a child with disabilities. But experts say, and this is dating back to the Schwarzenegger administration, and getting worse and worse and worse, that between 20 and 40% of this program is just pure fraud. Fraudulent timesheets, fraudulent billing. It operates on the honor system, and experts say it's losing between $6 and $12 billion a year to people who are taking this compassionate program and ripping it off.
All right, we're going to put that up on the board for everyone to see the number. It's because it's between 6 and 12 billion with a B dollars a year. So he was asked about this back in January 29th, and this is what he said.
2021, we did a moratorium on new hospice program. 280 we shuttered. We've been after this for years and years and years. We want an open hand, not a closed fist. We absolutely are here to be a partner to go after waste, fraud, and abuse. No one's denying these issues. But let's also not deny this is purely political.
How would you respond to that?
Well, of course, that's not true. Gavin Newsom, despite all of these concerns from Democrats and Republicans, actually has expanded the program at every turn and dismantled enforcement mechanisms. And the question is, why is he doing so? One reason is because this is now California's largest single occupation. This in-home care program, subsidized by taxpayers, represents about half of all new jobs created under Newsom. He wants to keep that number up, but also because these in-home care providers give about $150 million a year to the labor unions, which are, of course, Gavin Newsom's #1 kind of political power base.
Man, let me tell y'all something. Y'all thought Minnesota was bad. This is terrible. This is terrible. I'm not even gonna lie. You got it right here. This is Nick Shirley. He's going to explain how the hospice fraud works. You're having all this fraud that's going on that is truly crazy. I'm telling about this is crazy. Like, if they got to do something about this. They got to do something about this, meaning when it comes to Gavin Newsom. I'm telling y'all. Check it out, Nick Shirley.
Here in California, what makes this hospice and home healthcare fraud so hard to crack down on, take for example this one right here, All Day Hospice Care. They have billed $3.1 million, and per beneficiary, that's about $6,000, and 24 claims per patient with only 2 codes, which means 2 services. They've had over 505 patients, and they started billing in 2023 and accumulated $3.1 million in 19 months. And that is over 12,000 claims. The velocity of the billing here is what leads me to believe this is potentially fraudulent. And what makes this hard to track is that they then just rent small little suites inside of these kind of buildings, and they run their operations from there. And once any sort of suspicion comes, they then leave, close down shop, and who knows where they go. Are they going back to Armenia? Are they going back to Russia? Are they going back to their native country? Or are they just moving to another building inside of a location here in Los Angeles? And these areas where these people are committing this fraud, it just looks dilapidated. You have storefronts that are completely closed down, homeless people walk on the streets, these businesses are all boarded up, and they're prying on people who are on the verge of death to make all their money. That's what hospice is. But that is what the business model of the hospice is they just literally rent out these small little suites, charge millions of dollars over the years. Oh my gosh. And you just have people peeing.
Bro, that is wild, bro. California dirty, bro. I don't care what nobody. That is dirty, bro. I can't even get my words up. He taking a whole, mind y'all, this is the first time I'm seeing this video. I haven't seen this video. I usually watch some of these videos. So, but a lot of times I don't because I like watching it with y'all. But when I tell y'all this is probably the craziest things I've seen all week, that's dirty. But this good. This show you right here that it's time for Gavin Newsom to go ahead and resign, do something, because this ain't it. This is absolutely not it, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just too much going on. Ain't it too much going on? Or am I tripping? Like, there's a lot going on right now. Too much going on. I'm sorry for saying it, but I'm just... Anyways, you got John Fetterman. He had a lot to say about Gavin Newsom, trying to paint Nick Shirley out, to be... mind y'all, this is another fraud, a child care fraud. We talked about home health care. We've talked about hospice. Now we're on a child care. It's so much fraud going on in California that it ain't even funny no more. Check it out, John Fetterman.
Why can't you celebrate any journalist or any, activist doing that? And what, Governor Newsom put out a disgusting video implying that he's, a pedophile or he's that. Like, why? That's like kind of a smear, you want to disagree but to imply that someone in one of the most gross kinds of terms like that. Now, it's like, hey, shouldn't we agree? Like, eliminate all the waste. If it exists under my purview, let's eliminate it. Let's call that what it is. I'm not going to call someone or imply that you're a pedophile or you're, going after kids in the gross ways.
But what's crazy to me and so many other people that have seen these videos is to then see reactions from leaders in the Democratic Party saying, we don't have a problem, this is racist, this is whatever, and denouncing the reports of this. Exactly. But when you see this fraud, it angers everyone. You're spending money as a taxpayer, and then you're giving the money away to fraudsters. It should. You should be angry. And, fraud can happen on both sides, but when it's identified, I don't care if it's in a Democratic state, like, we should all just acknowledge maybe there is a problem here. This is part of the thing. If you tell voters that you're wrong or, hey, it's no problem, there's nothing here, then you lose. And that you want to turn that into, if you want to turn that into like the border, what Democrats is in 2023, we do that at our own peril.
Let me tell y'all something. He trying to paint Nick Shirley out to be that. A lot of times, if y'all want me to be completely honest with y'all, kids ain't even at the daycares. People aren't even like a lot of this stuff. Let me tell y'all something. When you have to turn to calling somebody names and to saying this and saying that, you in the wrong. I mean, he knows he's completely in the wrong just by how he's responding to stuff. I'm telling y'all. Absolutely insane. That brings me not only to Gavin Newsom, and talking about Gavin Newsom, but you have his wife. Says Gavin Newsom's wife has a meltdown over how President Trump treated Norah O'Donnell during the 60 Minutes interview. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen this interview, so I'm not going to play the video, but I am going to tell y'all what Gavin Newsom's wife said. She said, my family and I watched the 60 Minutes interview with Donald Trump and Norah O'Donnell last night, and we were shocked. Seeing a president speak to a woman journalist with a level of contempt and a clear allergy to facts is disturbing. Throughout this point, not unexpected, given his pattern of behavior, she said. It's no wonder we have a culture that normalizes dominance and aggression toward women and girls, which not only silences them, but also leads to internalized misogyny in others. So let me tell y'all something. We don't have to talk about the whole interview, because the way that they do things and the way that they say things, they try to get a reaction out of you. Knowing Trump, knowing the person that he is, seeing the way that he speaks, and, I'm not surprised. It's President Trump. He's going to speak his mind, and he's going to tell you like it is. And I would love any president to do that. You rather, want to know, want to know how you feel and what you're doing with things and how you're doing with things. So that's President Trump at the end of the day. Now, when she uses the word disturbing, that brings me to things that she says. Gavin Newsom's wife and or first partner says boys should play with dolls in this resurfaced video. Now listen to me and listen to me closely. I have something to say after I play this video because I know a lot of people are here and there with it. Let me play it first.
I think that we as a society should have no problem giving boys dolls and things to care for. I mean, I think that there should, truthfully, I think it's just ridiculous that we only give our girls dolls. We have to help all of the young boys in our lives stay true to who they are, not repress their emotions, not deny their feminine traits. So I bought him a doll. And it was a really funky looking doll, by the way. I'm kind of upset with the manufacturers. The boy dolls are really scary looking. They are. The girl dolls are very pretty, and the boy dolls have like crazy hair and these beady eyes, and I don't know what's going on there with the manufacturers. But I got him a doll, and this is true, and he did bite its hand off. But I did it because I wanted him to learn that.
Because he probably don't want a damn doll. I don't know. He probably doesn't want one. I don't know. He don't want a doll. I'm not a person that's got. I got two little girls. I got a 5-year-old, got a 2-year-old. Let me tell y'all something. I have no problem with them playing with dolls. I absolutely don't. Those therefore. When it comes down to action figures, because I have action figures. I got Chucky dolls. I have, things that I collect. I can agree with that. And that's why I said I got, what do they call these things? I have a lot of them. What are they called? The Pops. It's called the Pop figures. I have different ones of everybody. I don't have one of Trump. I don't even know if they make Trump. I do have a Trump. I have a Trump bobblehead though. I have different things, I have collectible items. I have a lot of collectible items, stuff like that. Now, when it comes to dolls, like we talking about like Barbie dolls and what she's saying, it's a no-go for me. I had a son, it's a no-go for me. And that's just me. Now, if you talking about wrestlers, I used to play with wrestlers and had my cousin had the wrestler, the cage and everything, that's a different story. Having action figures, I know this probably sound old. I don't even think that they have these anymore, but I know y'all remember them because most of the people that's watching my videos are over the age of 25. It was the little army men, the little green army men. I used to play with those all the time. Stuff like that, I'm not about to trip over. But when you telling your kids to play with dolls, like dolls, she said they have crazy hair and they have, big eyes like Barbie dolls, it's a no-go for me. Me personally, I feel like that's very disturbing to like give your child, y'all can disagree with me. That's just how I feel. Just like this person says, some things are just simple. Boys are boys and girls are girls. And it truly is. Why not introduce your son to a basketball, to a baseball, to a soccer ball? I don't know. You can play some pool or something. Some type of sport. Something. Even a swimming lesson. But no, you call Trump and say that, it's disturbing things that he says, but you have Gavin Newsom's wife that are, putting stuff in schools and having them do weird projects. Students, little kids, elementary. But when I say the things that he says is disturbing. Not only that, it's more. Don't worry. Gavin Newsom's wife recalls telling prisoners at San Quentin about running. I do not know this, but it says that she accidentally unalived her sister by a golf cart. I don't know how true that is, but that's what people are saying. Elon Musk even posted, and this is the true Elon Musk, right? Yes, it is the true Elon. This is Elon Musk. He said himself, she unalived her sister with an exclamation mark and a question mark. Check it out.
I mean, I had to be very raw when we interviewed the young men who were juvenile offenders in San Quentin. I told them about my own loss, where I lost my older sister a few days before my 7th birthday, and I blamed myself for her death. And I share that because that they ultimately were accused of committing these violent crimes and sentenced for life. And I think it shocked them that this, blonde lady who was, interviewing them had a similar story, was perhaps in the wrong place at the wrong time, but wasn't punished the way they were, because clearly it was an accident, but theirs was probably an accident too. So anyway, I share that just because I guess, I quite enjoy spending time with people and being real and unmasking and showing them that it's safe to unmask themselves.
Beautiful.
Like I've said before, y'all don't find that a bit disturbing that you have a person that's bringing up this is not the first time that's bringing up her sister, saying basically that she did that and that she had peace with that. She's okay with that. And then sitting there and, comparing it to prisoners and saying maybe theirs was an accident too. Y'all don't find that disturbing? Or am I tripping? Maybe I'm tripping. But I find that very disturbing. Not only that, you have Gavin Newsom and his wife started an organization that received fire relief aid. Yet not a single person has been found to be a recipient of this aid. Says he's likely funded this organization to enrich himself. So not only that, they're literally doing everything and anything for themselves, and it's truly sickening. Check it out.
Spencer Pratt exposing Gavin Newsom for the absolute scum of the earth he is was not on my bingo card, but I am so here for it. In case you've missed this, please, one, just go follow Spencer Pratt, because ever since he lost his house to the California wildfires, the Palisade fires, he has been on Gavin Newsom because he realized, oh, wow, this was all because of Gavin Newsom's incompetence, utter, disgusting incompetence, where there wasn't water in the hydrants, there wasn't water in the reservoirs, all their policies, they didn't do the proper, controlled burns. All of these leftist policies basically caused this fire and allowed for it to spread the way that it did. So Spencer sees this, so he's been on the case. So I guess Gavin Newsom hosts this concert, and they raise $100 million for fire disaster aid. But there hasn't been a single recipient. And Spencer's like, hey, has anyone received any money from this? $100 million, who's getting it? I'm in the Palisades and I haven't heard a single person that's getting it. So he starts doing some investigating, and he finds out that one of the recipients listed on this website is an organization that was founded by Gavin Newsom and his wife. And once he makes a video about it, that organization disappears off the website. So Gavin Newsom likely raised money for fire relief aid for the people of the Palisades. No one got any money, and he probably just used that to enrich himself, because the other recipients were just all these NGOs that had nothing to do with fire relief. And again, no one received any of the money. Gavin Newsom is a textbook narcissist who cares about power and money and will literally run over anyone to do so. He has ruined the state of California, and thank you, Spencer Pratt, for exposing this.
Definitely. So, speaking of Spencer Pratt, you got Spencer Pratt right here. It says IRS confirms Gavin Newsom running criminal enterprise. $800 million fire aid for the LA victims. $0 reached him. Money funneled to NGOs like Cal Volunteers, created by Newsom and his wife. Check it out right here, Spencer Pratt.
Just met with a great team of criminal investigators here at the IRS. If you asked fire aid for any money, you emailed them, please send me all your correspondence. If you bought tickets, merchandise, or donated to fire aid and you have the receipt, please email that evidence to info@prattdaddy.com. I repeat, if you are a fire victim in Altadena, Pacific Palisades, Pasadena, Malibu, any fire victims, and you reached out to fire aid, please send me those correspondence and then the correspondence of whoever fire aid told you to email. Thank you so much. Look forward to closing this case.
Y'all have it right here. And as y'all see, you have people that's definitely on top of it. You know, you have more from Avery Day. I'm pretty sure we just played a video from Avery Day, but she's obviously on it as well. Says Gavin Newsom's wife and her firm pocketed $3.7 million from her gender stereotypes charity, roughly 1/3 of the nonprofit's recent income. She says someone had to pay for their $9 million home. Maybe her rich parents cut her off after, you know, they left California to Florida. I don't know. But check it out right here. Definitely wild on how they're doing Californians, I'll tell you that.
Gavin Newsom's wife, Jennifer, and her
And the
friend,
thing is, y'all still, people got to realize, just look some stuff up. And y'all see how they doing, y'all.
pocket $3.7 million over the years from her gender stereotypes charity. Jennifer Newsom has a charity called the Representation Project. It's a nonprofit aimed at combating gender stereotypes, promoting gender justice and equity, and producing educational materials about harmful gender norms. Well, the nonprofit generates around 1 to 1.7 million annually in revenue. She pays herself $150,000 annual salary. And her for-profit company, Girls Club LLC, receives another $150,000. So she's getting $300,000 annually to her and her firm, which is about 1/3 of the charity's income in recent years. Over the years, these combined payments amount to over $3.7 million. I don't think the Newsoms care about gender justice. I think they care about lining their own pockets and manipulating their voter base in order to get rich. I guess that helped pay for their $9 million house they recently bought. Maybe she got cut.
And they got a fat crib, too. Ooh. $9 million. But the thing is, though, now that I'm looking at it, it just looked like land. You know? It don't really look like a when you think a $9 million house, maybe this is like a picture I need to see. Wherever, I don't know. Maybe it's the area it's in or something. I don't know.
She got cut off from her
But still, it's $9 million.
Parents who allegedly don't even like Gavin Newsom and left California for Florida. She needed to make up. Although, you know, Gavin's a rich kid too. For the people.
I'm telling you. And he's definitely not. He's definitely not. That's the thing. You got it right here. Says, we have needed accountability for a long time. VP J.D. Vance just, this first time being in the White House task force to eliminate fraud. You already know J.D. Vance is definitely on top of it. Says dozens of hospice and home health providers in Gavin Newsom, California are already frozen, and there's more to come with a lot of fraud that's going down.
Here's the basic problem that we've had in this government going back for probably 30 or 40 years. Is that you've never had an administration that has really taken this seriously until the president put us really from day one of the Trump administration who said, we have to take the fraud issue seriously. And a lot of the anti-fraud protections that existed in our government for a very long time were actually turned off by the Biden administration. So we think fraud has been a problem for a long time. It became a massive, massive problem under the Biden administration. We're going to do a number of things. First of all, we're going to turn back on those anti-fraud protections so that all of these cabinet officials are looking at what's going on and focusing on it. The second thing is that we're going to take a whole of government approach. So much of what's going to make the anti-fraud task force work is that we're communicating across different departments. So when Bobby Kennedy is talking to Scott Bessent about things that he's seeing in Medicare and Medicaid, when Scott is seeing things at Treasury, when Brooke is seeing things at Agriculture, when Scott is seeing things at Housing and Urban Development, what we're going to actually do is force the bureaucracy to take this seriously and work together as political principles to make sure that we stop allowing fraudsters to steal the American people's money.
Y'all got it right there. I ain't even got to say nothing. One thing about it, for the people that's, been saying, over the past weeks, past months, oh, nothing ain't going to happen. I think they not going to do nothing about it. They ain't going to trust and believe they going to do something about it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Y'all heard them. Catch y'all next one.